Hey everybody, welcome to Discovery Zone. Today we're diving into a world of happy accidents because some of the most awesome things we use every day were invented totally by chance. Can you imagine a world without microwaves or Postit Notes? Well, get this, those everyday heroes along with a bunch of other game changers were discovered when someone had a total oops moment. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to take a wild ride through the wacky world of accidental inventions. First up, let's talk about the MVP of the kitchen, the one and only microwave. It's 1945, and engineer Percy Spencer is working on radar technology. Anyway, Percy's got a chocolate bar in his pocket, and the radar waves from his experiment melted his chocolate bar. Instead of freaking out, he realizes, hey, maybe these waves can cook other stuff too. And bam, the microwave oven was born. Thanks to Percy's melted candy bar, we can all enjoy Hot Pockets and popcorn in minutes. Next up, we've got a story that's sure to make you say, ew, but in a good way, I promise. Back in 1928, Scottish scientist Alexander Fleming was doing some research on bacteria. Fleming wasn't exactly known for his tidy lab space. One day he comes back from vacation and what does he find? Mold growing all over his petri dishes. Gross, right? But wait, there's more. Fleming noticed that the mold was actually killing the bacteria. This moldy discovery led to the development of penicillin, the first antibiotic, which has saved countless lives. Okay, let's talk office supplies. Specifically, the little yellow squares that hold our lives together. Post-it notes. These sticky wonders were invented by Spencer Silver, but it wasn't even his intention. In 1968, Spencer was working on a super strong adhesive. But instead of creating a super glue, he accidentally made a super weak one. For years, Spencer tried to find a use for his weak glue, until 1974 when his colleague, Art Fry, needed a bookmark that wouldn't damage the pages, and voila, the Post-it note was born. Get ready to bounce into our next accidental invention, vulcanized rubber. We've got Charles Goodyear to thank for this one. Back in the 1830s, rubber was a real pain in the neck. It would melt in the summer and crack in the winter. Goodyear was determined to make rubber more durable, and he spent years experimenting. One fateful day in 1839, Goodyear accidentally dropped a mixture of rubber and sulfur on a hot stove. The heat, combined with the sulfur, actually vulcanized the rubber, making it strong, flexible, and resistant to temperature changes. Goodyear's accidental discovery revolutionized the rubber industry. Hold on to your spatulas, folks, because we're about to get slippery. It's time to talk about Teflon, the miracle coating that keeps your eggs from sticking to the pan. In 1938, chemist Roy Plunkett was working on a new type of refrigerant. Plunkett was experimenting with a gas called tetrafluoroethylene, and he stored it in pressurized canisters. One day, Plunkett went to use one of the canisters, and when he opened it, nothing came out. Curious, Plunkett decided to saw open the canister. That's when he discovered a waxy, slippery substance coating the inside. This substance, which we now know as Teflon, was incredibly slick and resistant to heat and chemicals. It took a while for Teflon to find its true calling, but eventually it revolutionized cookware, making life easier for home cooks everywhere. Okay, time for a sweet treat. Let's talk about everyone's favorite cookie, the chocolate chip cookie. Legend has it that this beloved dessert was born out of a happy accident. Back in 1930, Ruth Wakefield was whipping up a batch of chocolate cookies at her inn, the Toll House Inn. Ruth realized she was out of baker's chocolate, so she improvised and used a chopped up bar of semi-sweet chocolate instead. But guess what? It didn't melt into the dough. Instead of melting into a smooth chocolate batter, the chocolate held its shape, creating little chunks of chocolatey goodness in every bite, and thus, the chocolate chip cookie was born. Get ready to stretch your imagination with our next accidental invention, Silly Putty. This gooey, bouncy substance has been a childhood staple for generations, but did you know it was originally intended for a much more serious purpose? During World War II, there was a shortage of rubber. Scientists were tasked with finding a rubber substitute, and one of those scientists was James Wright. In 1943, while experimenting with different materials, Wright combined boric acid and silicone oil, creating a gooey, bouncy substance. It wasn't exactly what the military was looking for, but this happy accident turned out to be a whole lot of fun. Silly Putty quickly became a popular toy, captivating kids and adults alike with its unique properties. Hold on tight because our next accidental invention is about to shatter your expectations. It's safety glass, the type of glass used in car windshields that prevents it from shattering into dangerous shards upon impact. We can thank French chemist Edouard Benedictus for this life-saving invention, and it all started with a clumsy mistake. Back in 1903, Benedictus was working in his lab when he accidentally knocked a glass flask to the floor. Now you'd expect the flask to shatter into a million pieces, but to Benedictus's surprise, it didn't. It cracked, but it held its shape. Upon closer inspection, Benedictus realized that the flask had been coated with a plastic material called cellulose nitrate. This accidental discovery sparked an idea in Benedictus's mind, and he soon patented the process for creating safety glass, which has been protecting drivers and passengers ever since. Get ready to slink into our next accidental invention, the Slinky. This iconic toy has been mesmerizing kids and adults alike for decades with its mesmerizing descent downstairs and its ability to walk. But did you know that the Slinky was born out of a happy accident? In 1943, a naval engineer named Richard James was working on springs for warships. James was experimenting with different types of springs when he accidentally knocked one off a shelf. Now, you'd expect the spring to just fall to the floor, but this spring had other plans. Instead of simply dropping, the spring walked down a stack of books, then off a table, and onto the floor, where it coiled itself up as if nothing had happened. James was intrigued by this unexpected behavior and realized that this accidental discovery had the potential to be a hit toy, and he was right. Our final accidental invention is a bit of a trip, literally. We're talking about LSD, the psychedelic drug that became synonymous with the counterculture movement of the 1960s. But before LSD was associated with hippies and mind-bending experiences, it was a little-known chemical compound discovered entirely by accident. In 1938, Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann was working on synthesizing compounds from ergot, a fungus that grows on rye. Hofmann was hoping to create a drug that could treat migraines and other ailments. One day, while working with a compound called lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD for short, Hofmann accidentally ingested a small amount. He soon began to experience strange sensations, including hallucinations and altered perceptions. Hofmann had inadvertently discovered the potent psychedelic effects of LSD, forever changing the worlds of medicine, psychology, and counterculture. Well folks, there you have it, 10 everyday things that were invented by accident. From the microwave that heats our leftovers, to the penicillin that fights off infections, these accidental inventions have changed the course of history and made our lives easier, safer, and a whole lot more fun. So the next time you're feeling down about a mistake, remember that some of the greatest discoveries happened when someone dared to goof up. Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating facts from Discovery Zone.